There is a clue in the name. Adverbs go with verbs. Verbs describe the action, such as talking, sneezing, sitting, snoring, texting, and waving. But what verbs don't tell you is how these actions are performed. That is the job of the adverb. As you can see, most adverbs end in ly, but not all of them. Adverbs can change how the reader imagines a sentence. Have a look at this. The thief climbed through the window. We know the thief climbed through the window, but we don't know how. Sneakily. That makes sense. The thief sneakily climbed through the window. But look what happens when I change the adverb. It can change how you imagine the situation. Clumsily, noisily, quickly, slowly. The adverb is changing what you imagine. So let's stick with sneakily for now. Adverbs are really flexible and they can appear at different points in the sentence. The thief sneakily climbed through the window. The thief climbed sneakily through the window. Sneakily, the thief climbed through the window. All three of these are perfectly fine. Each gives the sentence a slightly different rhythm and sound, and it's up to you to choose which you think sounds the best. By now, it should be pretty clear that adverbs answer the how question. All those ly ending adverbs that you've been using have been answering this question, and there are literally hundreds to choose from. Now, it's also important to know that adverbs might be used to answer a different question, either the when or the where. Let's take a look at an example to help explain this. Tina drove. Clearly, the verb is drove, but we don't know how Tina drove. Briskly. Tina briskly drove. As well as knowing how she drove, we might want to know where she drove. Home. Tina briskly drove home. Another question that we might want to know is when she briskly drove home. Yesterday. So yesterday, Tina briskly drove home. So you can see how adverbs can be used not only to tell us how a verb is performed, but also where and when it was performed. So let's see this in action. I'll present you with a few sentences. You see if you can tell me whether the adverb is answering the how, the where, or the when question. Later, the rocket landed. The verb is landed. The adverb is later, and that's answering the when question. The cat stared inside the fishbowl. The verb is stared. The adverb, inside. And that adverb answers the where question. Yesterday, I thumped the door loudly. The verb is thumped. The first adverb is yesterday. That answers the when question. But did you spot the second adverb, loudly? That, of course, is answering the how question. Last year, my dad spilled coffee all over that chair. The verb is spilled. The first adverb, last year, that tells us when the coffee was spilled. The second adverb, all over, that tells us where it was spilled. Tim heroically scored in the final minute of the game. The verb is scored. The first adverb is heroically, and that tells us how he scored. The second adverb, in the final minute, and that tells us when he scored. So we have seen that adverbs tell us more about the verb. An adverb might answer the how question. These are the ly adverbs, neatly, eagerly. Adverbs might tell us more about where the verb was performed. Words like outside and behind. You might have noticed that these are prepositions, and we call these, when used as adverbs, prepositional adverbs. The final question that might be answered by adverbs is when. Words like soon or earlier. Finally, before we finish, a warning. Be careful that you don't overuse adverbs. Look at this example. The horse galloped quickly towards the castle. We already know the horse is moving quickly. After all, it's galloping. So no need to use the adverb quickly. Check under the table, Carol whispered quietly. Did you spot the mistake? Yes, whispering is already quiet. No need for the adverb quietly. Something else to be aware of is that adverbs can be avoided by using more specific vocabulary. I went quickly up the stairs. Nothing too wrong with that, but I think it would sound better if you simply put, I dashed up the stairs. Here's another. Emma threw the ball firmly. Let's use a more specific verb. Emma hurled the ball. So with more specific verb choices, the adverb to explain how something is done is not needed. In a nutshell, there are 4 key points for you to take away. Firstly, adverbs give more information about the verb. Secondly, adverbs can be put at different parts of the sentence, and it's up to you to decide which point is best. Number 3, an adverb might tell us how, when, or where the verb happened. And finally, be careful of using an adverb when the verb itself already explains how it was performed.